this is just another job. After all, this is what I do.
After 6 years of downtime, Agent 47 is back on the job in Hitman Absolution. Given the sizable gap between installments, it's only logical that IO Interactive would change up the pattern for 47's first real next-gen contract. Do the results make any meaningful contribution to the stealth genre, or should this killer have remained underground?
Pour me a coffee, asshole!
All is not well with the agency. Agent 47, the series' perpetually grimacing protagonist, is charged with killing his former handler. It should be just another job for this man without a conscience, but think again. When things fail to go exactly as they should, the silent killer goes on the lam, evading the clutches of a vast conspiracy, while simultaneously working to dismantle it, hit by hit.
Go with God, motherfucker.
Hitman Absolution is heavy-handed with the cutscenes, and it's not a good look. The story aims for some kind of schlocky, transgressive thriller, fumbling all the way through with ridiculous characters and an obnoxious script. Slumming it is a voice cast full of notables including Stephen Bauer, Vivica Fox, and Tracy Lords. You get the feeling that the story is an all-in proposition for IO Interactive. It's unfortunate that it's good for little more than some laughs at its expense.
Tough guy? Stop it! Come on, man, you tough guy? Come on, you tough guy? Come on, man!
No! Come on! Okay, I'll show you!
Agent 47's quest for absolution takes him to all manner of locales amenable to his deadly trade, from bustling city streets where he's just a face in the crowd, to much more confining precincts where a single suspect move could raise an alarm, and a subsequent speedy checkpoint reload. The best levels in the game are the wide-open ones, where you have a measure of choice as to how you'll take out your targets. These usually involve a surreptitious and exhilarating casing of the joint in order to identify where specific designer-designated accidents can befall your quarry. Levels with more prescribed paths are much less enjoyable. Apart from downplaying the elements of exploration and improvisation that make for Absolution's strongest moments, they often put you on a collision course with the game's incoherent AI.
We need to get out of here, okay? Hang on, I saw that unload something.
Apart from a few set-piece scenarios, getting through a level in Absolution means contending with multitudes of hostiles while attracting as little attention as possible. 47 has access to all of the usual tricks that enable this, stealthing behind objects, tossing objects to distract guards, and jumping into the hidey holes that are conveniently scattered throughout the environment. What separates him from other video game hatchet men is his ability to disguise himself as the enemies he offs. Most of the time, though significantly not always, dropping an enemy allows you to don their outfit.
You were disguised as a chef.
While using a disguise, you're effectively invisible to any character not wearing the same outfit. So if you're dressed as a cop, the grease monkeys working in the garage you're pretending to patrol won't pay you mind. Conversely, if you're masquerading as a cop at a police station, you're going to attract some heat. The scheme makes sense, except when it doesn't. In one stage, you can easily acquire a street vendor disguise. If you don it, though, you're instantly looked upon with suspicion by every other street vendor in the level, which happens to be set in a densely inhabited urban environment with multiple food stands, seemingly on every block. I guess the disguise didn't come with a union card. It's during moments like this that you come to a disheartening realization. Rather than encourage you to find clever ways to utilize your tools in a way that jives with the game world, success in Absolution generally comes down to gaming the rigid AI. The mechanics reinforce this idea. Getting past characters who are dressed the same as you requires that you spend instinct, a finite resource that you can also use to scope out clues in the environment and track down enemy patrol patterns. It's replenished by doing Hitman-like things, stealth takedowns, headshots, completing mission objectives, and the like. When activating instinct to fool enemies, 47 puts his hand to his face, as if trying to avoid an undesirable acquaintance. It works as long as you have instinct in your pool, but frankly, it feels like cheating.
Hands over your head. Whoa, easy now. Put the weapon down.
Meanwhile, things that you'd feel ought to land you in hot water often have zero repercussions. When playing on normal difficulty, brazen takedowns done in what seems like plain view of enemies will frequently go unnoticed. Hurling an item to distract a guard in a trajectory that has the object whizzing past their head will result in them investigating the spot where it landed rather than its obvious source. Playing on higher settings make things more challenging, though not any more natural. Due to accelerated enemy reaction times, merely exiting cover for a split second is often enough to bring Armageddon down upon you.
Oh my God!
The scattershot distribution of checkpoints actively discourages experimentation in a game that simply cries out for it, especially in the more open levels. It's quite likely that the course you choose will cause you to miss what few checkpoints exist. Failure in these cases means a tedious retread, particularly if you've completed any mission objectives prior to death. Getting a truly satisfying signature kill in Absolution inevitably involves a whole lot of waiting, and having to redo something that you feel like you aced the first time is immensely deflating.
Let's get it together, bitches.
Contracts mode is a bright spot, if only because human creativity works to accentuate the game's open-ended elements. It allows players to craft custom challenges for the online community by actually playing through individual levels and designating specific targets and conditions. When designing a contract, the game records who you kill, how you killed them, how long it took, what outfit you wore, and how you escaped the scene. Challengers are then rated based on how quickly they get through your contract and how closely they match your methods, earning points to spend on weapons, upgrades, and disguises. Given the wide variety of tricks you can employ, it's likely you'll encounter some wild stuff when messing with contracts. You'll find yourself wishing the ponderous campaign exhibited a fraction of the joy. As a killer with a perfectionist streak, Agent 47 lives and dies by the numbers. That is, his overall rating, tabulated at the end of every mission. However, this system, which is intended to encourage deliberate and clean play, ends up feeling like a nagging scold. 47 is skilled indeed, but whenever you neutralize someone that isn't a designated target, you're docked points. There are degrees, of course. Non-lethal takedowns cost you less, and the penalties are actually negated if you successfully hide bodies. But in practice, trying to play the way the game seems to be instructing you to feels exceedingly tedious. .47 enjoys the standard repertoire you'd expect from a stealth game protagonist. Stealth takedowns come in lethal and non-lethal varieties, and if you have a silenced weapon or environmental object equipped, you'll use them to dispatch foes. Be careful when performing ranged stealth kills though. Some objects, like knives and screwdrivers, will have the expected lethal effects, but if you try hurling a brick at an enemy's head, you'll just startle them.
Hey!
You also have a foolproof human shield maneuver for when you're discovered, but by the time enemies have eyes on you, it typically means you've botched something. At best, you're in for some awkward, quick-time fisticuffs. Finally, firing weapons as a whole feels loose and detached, and even more so when you employ 47's instinct-powered point-shooting ability. You'll be hard-pressed to find an execution mechanic that feels less impactful. Hitman Absolution is nothing if not distinctive. When the world is awash just so with bloom and saturation, you'll feel like you're really inhabiting the profane, schlocky world that the narrative is clumsily grasping for. The more crowded environments feel earnest and believable, at least until cops start firing indiscriminately into crowds. The characters, meanwhile, walk an interesting line between a dark, near-cartoonish style and a squint-your-eyes realism that almost works. With his inhumanly smooth pate and unchanging look of serpentine determination, Agent 47 looks like the most conspicuous man in the world, regardless of whoever he might be disguised as.
Don't stop.
It's clear that a good deal of effort was put into crafting Hitman Absolution's world. This makes its flaws all the more unfortunate. Rather than encourage you to engage this striking world as a real place with coherent rules and consequences, you're asked to internalize its shortcomings and game them mercilessly. When it truly makes good on the open world stealth thing, it certainly has its moments, and nowhere is this more evident than in the contracts mode. But even in these cases, its flaws are merely papered over. If you mean to accept this contract, bear in mind the numerous potential complications.
Go back to your dirty place and shoot yourself! Go!